Welcome to Pi Uncut, where we break down the biggest stories in technology, business, and the global economy. Today's story is about Apple and the iPhone and something very interesting happening in 2026. While the global smartphone market is expected to decline sharply, Apple is actually gaining market share. Yes, you heard that right. In a year when the entire industry is shrinking, Apple is growing stronger. So what is going on here? Let's start with the big picture. The global smartphone market is heading toward one of its worst years in over a decade. Analysts are predicting that total smartphone shipments could fall by around 13% in 2026. This decline is being driven by a few major factors. First, rising costs. Memory chips, which are essential components in smartphones, have become more expensive due to massive demand from artificial intelligence data centers. Second, weaker consumer demand. People are holding on to their phones longer and delaying upgrades. And third, pricing pressure. As costs go up, many smartphone makers are forced to increase prices, which further reduces demand. So overall, this is a tough environment for the smartphone industry. But Apple is playing a completely different game. According to analysts, Apple is expected to be the only major smartphone brand to gain market share in 2026. Let's break down why. The first reason is upgrade demand. More iPhone users are planning to upgrade their devices than ever before. Global upgrade intent has reached record highs, with about 37% of users planning to buy a new iPhone within the next year. This is significant, because smartphones are no longer replaced every year. Many users now wait 3 to 4 years before upgrading. So when upgrade demand spikes, it creates a powerful wave of sales. And Apple is benefiting from that wave. The second reason is switching. More users are switching from Android to iPhone. Apple's switching rate has reached a 5-year high, meaning more people are entering the Apple ecosystem than leaving it. This is a crucial advantage, because once users enter the Apple ecosystem, they tend to stay. They buy AirPods, Macs, iPads, and subscribe to services. This creates long-term revenue, not just one-time sales. The third reason is pricing strategy. While many Android manufacturers are raising prices due to higher component costs, Apple is doing something different. It is absorbing some of those costs and keeping prices relatively stable. This gives Apple a competitive edge. In a price-sensitive market, stable pricing can attract more customers, especially when competitors are becoming more expensive. The fourth reason is Apple's supply chain strength. Apple has one of the most efficient and powerful supply chains in the world. This allows it to manage costs better than competitors. For example, in China, Apple's iPhone sales increased by 23% even as the overall market declined. This shows how strong execution can outperform market conditions. Now let's talk about the next big factor, innovation. There is growing excitement around a potential foldable iPhone expected in the near future, and the numbers are surprising. Around 27% of global iPhone users are extremely interested in a foldable device, with even higher interest in markets like China. If Apple launches a successful foldable iPhone, it could unlock a completely new growth cycle. Some estimates suggest this category alone could generate tens of billions of dollars in revenue. This is important because the smartphone market is no longer about basic upgrades. It is about new form factors, new experiences, and new reasons to upgrade. And Apple has a history of entering markets late but dominating them. Now let's zoom out again. Why is Apple able to grow when the rest of the market is shrinking? The answer lies in its positioning. Apple is not competing in the low-end market. It focuses on premium devices. And in times of economic pressure, premium brands often perform better than expected. Why? Because their customers are less sensitive to price changes. At the same time, Apple captures a disproportionate share of profits in the smartphone industry. Even with lower unit market share, it dominates revenue and profitability. This gives Apple more flexibility. It can invest in innovation, it can absorb costs, and it can maintain pricing power. But this story is not without risks. One major concern is artificial intelligence. Apple is currently seen as lagging behind competitors like Google and OpenAI in AI capabilities. Its AI strategy is focused on on-device intelligence, which prioritizes privacy but may limit advanced features. In 2026, updates to Siri and Apple Intelligence will be critical. If Apple fails to deliver compelling AI features, it could lose its competitive edge. Another risk is market saturation. The smartphone market is mature. Most people already own a smartphone, so growth depends heavily on convincing users to upgrade or switch. That is not easy. And finally, competition remains intense. Samsung, Huawei, and other Android brands are not standing still. They are innovating in areas like foldables, AI integration, and pricing strategies. So Apple's leadership is not guaranteed. Now let's bring everything together. We're looking at a very unusual situation. The global smartphone market is shrinking. Demand is weak. Costs are rising, and yet Apple is gaining market share. This tells us something important. In challenging markets, strong companies get stronger. Apple's combination of brand loyalty, ecosystem strength, pricing strategy, and supply chain advantage is allowing it to outperform. And if the company successfully launches new products like a foldable iPhone and improves its AI capabilities, this trend could continue. In conclusion, Apple's iPhone story in 2026 is not just about smartphones. It's about strategy, it's about positioning, and it's about execution in a difficult environment. While the broader market struggles, Apple is turning challenges into opportunities, and that is why analysts believe it could come out even stronger. The next 12 to 18 months will be critical. Watch for new product launches, watch for AI updates, and watch for how competitors respond. Because the smartphone market may be declining, but the battle for dominance is just getting started. This is Pi Uncut, where we break down the biggest stories in technology, business, and the global economy. Stay tuned for more.